welcome back to the Road Trip Kingdom Builders and Road Trippers, my friends and family, Mishpachah. All right, my brothers and sisters, welcome back, everybody. Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings to you, your homes, your dwelling places. All right, man, all praises to the Most High, all praises to Yahweh. Glory to Yahweh Shai, honors to the Ruach, my love and my respect to you. I'm glad that you're with me this morning, grand rising, or good afternoon, or good evening, right? Good night, glorious night, or whatever time you're picking this up, right? Okay. All pleasantries out the way. We're back here in the KJV, New Testament. We're in the Acts of the Apostles. This is going to be chapter 26, starting off on this one. We finished up on the last read. We read 22 through 25, I believe it was. Yeah. So now we're going to finish up with 26, 27, and 28 to the door. 28 to the gate, huh? That's right. And we're going to be done with the Acts of the Apostles. Then we'll be going into the book of Romans, the Epistle of Paul, the Epistle of Paul the Apostle to the Romans. All right? Cool. All right. If you want to follow along with me right now, is a great opportunity to do so. I love when y'all do that, ladies and gentlemen. So we're not going to tarry too long. Let's go ahead and get started on this. Finish this up and start the rest of the day off on a right pace, on a good note, on a good foot, right? Okay. No further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Acts of the Apostles, chapter 26, KJV. Let's begin. Chapter 26, and it reads, Then Agrippa said unto Paul, Thou art permitted to speak for thyself. Then Paul stretched forth the hand and answered for himself. I think myself happy, King Agrippa, because I shall answer for myself this day before thee, touching all the things whereof I am accused of the Yahudim, especially because I know thee to be expert in all customs and questions which are among the Yahudim. Wherefore I beseech thee to hear me patiently. My manner of life from my youth, which was at the first among mine own nation at Jerusalem, know all the Yahudim, which knew me from the beginning. If they would testify that after the most straightest sect of our religion, I lived a Pharisee, reference Acts 22 and 3. Verse 6, and it reads, And now I stand and am judged for the hope of the promise made of Yahweh unto our fathers, until which promise our 12 tribes instantly serving Yahweh day and night hope to come, for which hope's sake, King Agrippa, I am accused of the Yahudim. Why should it be thought a thing incredible with you that Yahweh should raise the dead? I verily thought with myself that I ought to do many things contrary to the name of Yahweh Shai of Nazareth. Which thing I also did in Jerusalem, and many of the saints did I shut up in prison, having received authority from the chief priests, and when they were put to death, I gave my voice against them. Reference Acts 8 and 3. And I punished them oft in every synagogue, and compelled them to blaspheme. And being exceedingly mad against them, I persecuted them even unto strange cities. Whereupon I went to Damascus with authority and commission from the chief priest. At midday, O king, I saw in the way a light from heaven, above the brightest of the sun, shining round about me and them which journeyed with me. And when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me, and saying in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. And I said, Who art thou, Adonai? And he said, I am Yahweh Shai, whom thou persecutest. But rise and stand upon thy feet, for I have appeared unto thee for this purpose, to make thee a minister and a witness both of these things which thou hast seen, and of those things in which I will appear unto thee, delivering thee from the people and from the Gentiles, unto whom now I send thee, to open their eyes and to turn them from darkness to light, and from the power of Hasatan unto Yahweh, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance among them which are sanctified by faith that is in me. Whereupon, O King Agrippa, I was not disobedient unto the heavenly vision, but shewed first unto them of Damascus and at Jerusalem and throughout all the coast of Judea, and then to the Gentiles, that they should repent and turn to Yahweh, and do works meet for repentance. For these causes, the Yahudim caught me in the temple and went about to kill me. Having therefore obtained help of Yahweh, I continue unto this day, witnessing both to small and great, saying none other things than those which the prophets and Moshe did say should come, that Mashiach should suffer, and that he should be the first that should rise from the dead, and should shew light unto the people and to the Gentiles. And as he thus spake for himself, Festus said with a loud voice, Paul, thou art beside thyself. Much learning doth make thee mad. But he said, I am not mad, most notable Festus, but speak forth the words of truth and soberness. For the king knoweth of these things, before whom also I speak freely. For I am persuaded that none of these things are hidden from him. For this thing was not done in a corner. King Agrippa, believest thou the prophets? I know that thou believest. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, Almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian. And Paul said, I would to Yahweh, that not only thou, but also all that hear me this day were both almost and altogether such as I am, except these bonds. And when he had thus spoken, the king rose up, and the governor, and Bernice, and they sat with him. And when they were gone aside, they talked between themselves, saying, This man doeth nothing worthy of death or of bonds. Then said Agrippa unto Festus, This man might have been set at liberty, if he had not appealed unto Caesar. Reference Acts 25:11. That's the end of chapter 26. Let's continue on. Let's get 27. All right. 27, and then we'll finish up 28. All right. Cool. All right, let's continue. All right, Mishpachah, chapter 27, and it reads, And when it was determined that we should sail into Italy, they delivered Paul and certain other prisoners unto one named Julius, a centurion of Augustus's band. And entering into a ship of Adramyttium, we launched, meaning to sail by the coast of Asia, one Aristarchus, Macedonian of Thessalonica, being with us. And the next day we touched at Sidon, and Julius courteously entreated Paul, and gave him liberty to go unto his friends to refresh himself. And when he had launched from thence, we sailed under Cyprus, because the winds were contrary. And when we had sailed over the sea of Cilicia and Pamphylia, we came to Myra, a city of Lycia. And there the centurion found a ship of Alexandria sailing into Italy, and he put us therein. And when we had sailed slowly many days, and scarce were come over against Cnidus, the wind not suffering us, we sailed under Crete, over against Salmone, and hardly passing it, came unto a place which is called the Fair Heavens, nigh whereunto was the city of Lasea. Now, when much time was spent, and when sailing was now dangerous, because the fast was now already past, Paul admonished them, and said unto them, Sirs, I perceive that this voyage will be with hurt and much damage, not only of the lading and ship, but also of our lives. Nevertheless, the centurion believed the master and the owner of the ship more than those things which were spoken by Paul. And because the haven was not commodious to winter in, the more part advised to depart thence also, if by any means they might attain to Phoenice, and there to winter, which is a haven of Crete, and lieth toward the southwest and northwest. And when the south wind blew softly, supposing that they had attained their purpose, losing thence, they sailed close by Crete. But not long after there arose against it a tempestuous wind, called Euroclydon. And when the ship was caught and could not bear up into the wind, we let her drive, and running under the certain island which is called Clauda, we had much work to come by the boat, which when they had taken up, they used helps, undergirding the ship, and fearing lest they should fall into the quicksands, strict sail, and so were driven. And we being exceedingly tossed with a tempest, the next day they lightened the ship. And the third day we cast out with our own hands the tackling of the ship. And when neither sun nor stars in many days appeared, and no small tempest lay on us, all hope that we should be saved was then taken away. But after long abstinence Paul stood forth in the midst of them, and said, Sirs, ye should have hearkened unto me, and not have loosened from Crete, and to have gained this harm and loss. And now I exhort you to be of good cheer, for there shall be no loss of any man's life among you, but of the ship. For there stood by me this night the angel of the Most High, whose I am, and who I serve, saying, Fear not, Paul, thou must be brought before Caesar. And lo, Yahweh hath given thee all them that sail with thee. Wherefore, sirs, be of good cheer, for I believe Yahweh that it shall be given as it was told me. Howbeit, we must be cast upon a certain island, But when the 14th night was come, as we were driven up and down in Adria about midnight, and the shipmen deemed that they drew near to some country, and sounded and found it 20 fathoms. And when they had gone a little further, they sounded again, and found it 15 fathoms. Then, fearing lest we should have fallen upon rocks, they cast 4 anchors out of the stern, and wished for the day. And as the shipmen were about to flee out of the ship, when they had let down the boat into the sea, under color, as though they would have cast anchors out of the foreship, Paul said to the centurion and to the soldiers, Except these abide in the ship, ye cannot be saved. Then the soldiers cut off the ropes of the boat, and let her fall off. And while the day was coming on, Paul besought them all to take meat, saying, This day is the 14th day that ye have tarried and continued fasting, having taken nothing. Wherefore I pray you to take some meat, for this is for your health, for there shall not an hair fall from the head of any of you. And when he had thus spoken, he took bread and gave thanks to the Most High in presence of them all. And when he had broken it, he began to eat. And then were they all of good cheer, and they also took some meat. And we were in all in ship 216 souls. And when they had eaten enough, they lightened the ship, and cast out the wheat into the sea. And when it was day, they knew not the land, but they discovered a certain creek with a shore, into the which they were minded, if it were possible, to thrust in the ship. And when they had taken up the anchors, they committed themselves unto the sea, and loosed the rudder bands, and hoisted up the mainsail to the wind, and made toward shore. And falling into a place where 2 seas met, they ran the ship aground, and the forepart struck fast and remained unmovable, but the hinder part was broken with the violence of the waves. And the soldiers' counsel was to kill the prisoners, lest any of them should swim out and escape. But the centurion, willing to save Paul, kept them from their purpose, and commanded that they which could swim should cast themselves first into the sea, and get to land. And the rest, some on boards, and some on broken pieces of the ship. And so it came to pass that they escaped all safe to land. That's the end of chapter 27. All right. So they were cast away, man. They were shipwrecked. Shipwrecked. That's what it sounds like right there, huh? And it said the forepart got stuck and lodged into the sand and the rocks, and the back part was just kind of waving around, and as the waves were coming and smashing against it, it was breaking the boat into pieces. And those who were able to abandon the centurion told him to swim to land. Get to land. Don't drown on this boat. But the guards were like, hey, man, we better kill these guys so they don't get away. You better kill these prisoners. The centurion saved Paul in this. All right. Let's go ahead and finish up 28 to the gate, and we'll be done with the Acts of the Apostles. All right. Let's continue on. All right, let's finish this up. Chapter 28, and it reads, And when they were escaped, then they knew that the island was called Melita. And the barbarous people shewed us no little kindness, for they kindled a fire, and received us every one because of the present rain, and because of the cold. And when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks, and laid them on the fire, there came a viper out of the heat, and fastened on his hand. And when the barbarians saw the venomous beast hang on his hand, they said among themselves, No doubt this man is a murderer, whom though he hath escaped the sea, yet vengeance suffereth not to live. And he shook off the beast into the fire, and felt no harm. Howbeit they looked when he should have swollen or fallen down dead suddenly. But after they had looked a great while and saw no harm come to him, they changed their minds and said that he was a god. Now remember, I'm going to interject. You remember the promise that Yahweh had made? And Yahushua even mentioned it. He said that, you'll get bitten by venomous vipers or drink poisonous substances and no harm will come to him. Well, hey, this is what it looks like. Verse 7, and it reads, In the same quarters were possessions of the chief men of the island, whose name was Publius, who received us and lodged us 3 days courteously. And it came to pass that the father of Publius lay sick of a fever and of a bloody flux, to whom Paul entered in and prayed, and laid his hands on him, and healed him. So when this was done, others also, which had diseases in the island, came and were healed, who also honored us with many honors. And when we were departed, they laden us with such things as were necessary. And after 3 months we departed in a ship of Alexandria, which had wintered in the isle, whose sign was Castor and Pollux. And landing in Syracuse, we tarried there 3 days. And from thence we fetched a compass, and came to Rhegium. And after 1 day the south wind blew, and we came the next day to Puteoli, where we found brethren, and were desired to tarry with them 7 days. And so we went toward Rome. And from thence When the brethren heard of us, they came to meet us as far as Appi Forum, and the 3 taverns, whom when Paul saw, he thanked Yahweh and took courage. And when we came to Rome, the centurion delivered the prisoners to the captain of the guard, but Paul was suffered to dwell by himself with a soldier that kept him. And it came to pass that after 3 days Paul called the chief of the Yahudim together, and when they were come together, he said unto them, Men and brethren, though I have committed nothing against the people or customs of our fathers, yet I was delivered prisoner from Jerusalem into the hands of the Romans, who when they had examined me would have let me go, because there was no cause of death in me. But when the Yahudim spake against it, I was constrained to appeal unto Caesar, not that I had aught to accuse my nation of. For this cause, therefore, have I called for you, to see you and to speak with you, because that for the hope of Yasharel I am bound with this chain. And they said unto him, We neither received letters out of Judea concerning thee, neither any of the brethren that came shewed or spake any harm of thee. But we desire to hear of thee what thou thinkest. For as concerning this sect, we know that everywhere it is spoken against. And when they had appointed him a day, there came many to him into his lodging, to whom he expounded and testified the kingdom of Yahweh, persuading them concerning Yahushai, both out of the law of Moshe and out of the prophets, from morning till evening. And some believed the things which were spoken, and some believed not. And when they agreed not among themselves, they departed after that Paul had spoken one word. Well spake the Ruach HaKodesh by Isaiah the prophet unto our fathers, saying, Go unto this people, and say, Hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and not perceive. For the heart of the people is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing. And their eyes have they closed, lest they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. Be it known, therefore, unto you, that the salvation of Yahweh is sent unto the Gentiles, and that they will hear it. And when he had said these words, the Yahudim departed and had great reasoning among themselves. And Paul dwelt 2 whole years in his own hired house, and received all that came in unto him, preaching the kingdom of Yahweh, and teaching those things which concern the Adonai Yahushai HaMashiach with all confidence, no man forbidding him. And that's the end of chapter 28. Thus, that's the end of Acts of the Apostles. That's the end of that. All right, so we're going to close that out right there. We'll be starting in on the Epistle of Paul, the Apostle, to the Romans. All right, we're going to finish up right now. Yeah, so thanks for riding along with me, Kingdom Builders, Road Trippers, Akim and Akatim. I really appreciate having y'all on this one. And I'm not promising that we're going to dive super deep into Romans. I got a couple things I'm trying to get squared away. All right, get some ducks in line and, crossing some T's and dotting some I's, right? Closing up some loose ends this week before the career starts next Monday. So I'm going to still be doing these daily scripture reads, but maybe the volume, the frequency might be a little bit less, all right? But thanks for being here. Shalom and shalom. Peace and blessings to all of you. You know that. And be safe out there traveling up and down the roads. I hope that you all had a very good Shabbat this past weekend and a good relaxing Passover with your family. I pray for your safety and your success. All right. Until we speak again, until we read again, you already know all praises to the Most High Yahweh. I'll see you all very soon. I love you. Yeah.